Okay, we're live. It's the first GNU Radio project call 2017, January 19th, and we have a small agenda for a great year. Isn't that a nice intro? Okay, the things we want to talk about are FOSDEM, GSOC, the upcoming releases, and a brief roadmap of Python 3. FOSDEM and GSOC are obviously the same announcements that we've been doing all the time, and FOSDEM is going to be very soon. It's going to be February 4th and 5th in Belgium. So if you're in Europe, you can just go there. It's free. All you need to figure out is where to sleep, and I'm sure there's some places in Brussels that's rooms available, and it's a great place to meet us, the SDR community, but also many other open source developers. Now the agenda is already the agenda for all tracks, including the SDR track, is completely locked down and it's finalized. So you can go to fosdem.org and see what's going on. And in the SDR track specifically, you'll find, so Phil, Sylvain, and I are sort of the organizers of that track, but many other people will also be there. So Ben will be there. And we have people from other SDR projects as well, which is really one of the most exciting parts about FOSDEM, and where we finally get together. There will be videos, so if you can't make it, don't sweat. You will at least be able to see the calls later on. Sorry, not the calls, the presentations. They will be filmed, and we have a whole bunch of volunteers helping with the AV. So I think it'll be even better than last year, where we had last year the videos were good, but the cutting somehow managed to offset the slides, like the slide picture from the actual talk. So when the speakers referenced the slide, it was actually a different one that was shown on the screen. And I hope we can fix that this year. But I know that FOSDEM people have been working hard on improving the video infrastructure. So that's it for FOSDEM. I'm hoping to see many of you guys there. And remember, we have a very small room as usual. So if you want to actually sit in and listen, you will have to make sure that you queue up on time. Next agenda item is GSOC, and GSOC, there's nothing really right now that we have to do except for come up with great ideas. And GSOC was already announced, unlike previous years where they announced in February. It was immediately announced after last year's GSOC. So we know it's going to happen, and we know we're going to apply. And in order to do that, we need to have a great idea list on our wiki page. And we've already started sort of throwing in things. Give you a rough idea what we have right now. We have a GR module overhaul, make it more pluggable, less static, GRC view-only mode, a DTV viewing app. It looks really nice and shiny, so digital TV. So we have ATSC DTV codes in GNU Radio, but what we really need is sort of a non-GRC based app that just looks cool. Sort of that's a demo of how GNU Radio can be used under the hood. Extending and updating GR radar, GRC extensions, Qt widgets extensions, Android extensions. Some of these ideas are from last year as well. And many of these ideas also need fleshing out. Now, if you have any idea at all what you think would be a good GSOC project, which means a student who is not necessarily an expert in GNU Radio could work on this over the course of 2.5 months with a defined end goal, then please post it. And we will, even if it's just a rough idea, we will polish it up. But if you can also post polished ideas, that's even better. Because the quality of the idea list is one of the most important factors for getting accepted into. And we've been fairly successful in the past, except for 1 year where we were not accepted. I think it was because of our bad idea list. And we had good projects coming from students. They've been presenting at GRCon, and a lot of them have been active since. So I would like to continue that course. All right, so I'm going to pass it off to Ben for the release planning.
Thanks.
I don't speak all the time.
Yeah, I'm fairly sick, so I apologize for sounding terrible. So as I'm sure everyone saw over the mailing list, the major announcements are that we're currently in a code freeze, getting ready for the 3.7.10.2 patch release and the 3.7.11 main release. it's been a little while since our last release, but there's been a lot of activity. As Jonathan mentioned in the email, we've had over 80 pull requests that have been merged, and there's been more since then. So it'll be a really great release with a lot of good bug fixes. We're still accepting bug fix PRs at this point, and we will through the release, which will take place sometime next week. So if there's anything you especially want to get in, please go ahead and submit that PR, and we'll get it merged prior to the release. And any new features, just keep them in a holding pattern, and as soon as we get it out, we'll pull them in. If you have any questions, get in touch with me and Jonathan, and otherwise, we're looking forward to solid releases next week. Back to you, Martin.
Cool. Sebastian has been working very hard on many things you see in Python 3, and you can give us a quick overview of what's coming.
Certainly. Well, a lot of people have been asking about this, and so GNU Radio is going to get Python 3 support in 2.17. And before there's any worries, it'll be a dual version, single code base support. So we'll continue to support Python 2, and with the same code base, also do Python 3. This involves a lot of changes, and we have one guy, Douglas Anderson, who volunteered to do changes needed in the build system and also modernize our existing Python code bits all around the tree, and also to fix tests, which will require more effort as soon as we kind of get off the ground, and then we can ask people for help and to look over like modernized code and stuff. And then there's this whole GRC thing, which is kind of been a hurdle because there's two dependencies that we won't get to Python 3, and that's our GUI bindings by TTK. We have switched those out, and we're running on G-object introspection now, which will give some nice GUI updates. So I have curved connections and drag and drop connect stuff, just little goodies. And then the other thing that I've been talking about in the past is the conversion of our block wrappers. So we're going from XML and Cheetah, that's the template engine that also won't make it to Python 3, to a YAML/Mako-based format. And we'll be providing a converter for all your block wrappers. Most not so exotic code should run fine through there, but it's not a full Cheetah YAML converter. So all these changes are going to take place on a special kind of staging branch. And once we're confident that it's running more or less smoothly, we're going to merge it into Next. And this will also be the time where we welcome people to test it. And if in the meantime anyone's interested in helping out with these all these tasks, we'll be really happy to take on additional workload. Yeah, back to you, Mark.
Cool.
Just to jump in, I want to real quickly say that, as Sebastian mentioned, Douglas Anderson really jumped in and took on the brunt of this work and has done a whole lot. So special shout out to him. It's a great example of somebody in the community getting involved and contributing in a huge way. It's been really great.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I already have that on the minutes pages too. Like, very happy for everyone who steps in and helps fixing stuff. And as Sebastian says, help is highly appreciated. I think like testing nuances and different distros and stuff like that will be something where people can most easily and effectively jump in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and it'll be a big change. Unfortunately, we don't take these lightly. We know it'll be a little bit of a pain for everyone, but the alternative would be to never support Python 3, and we think that's worth the pain. Okay, so that's all the items I had on my list. So a couple of people have joined in the meantime. Is there anything you want to bring up? I'm just going to assume that if no one says anything, then no one wants to bring something up. Okay, well, in that case, thanks everyone for joining. And we'll have another call. Let me see. It'll be February 16th. By that time, we'll all be back from FOSDEM, and we'll have maybe something to report. So we'll put that in your calendars, the same time and place as usual. And I'm looking forward to an interesting and productive 2017 with all of you, and keep those patches coming. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thanks all.